Well, hey, look, we're back. Hi. Um, what? Sorry, I got confused. I started recording and didn't know what I was gonna say. So, sorry. I'm feeling a bit of an idiot right now. This is Origami Snowman, and you can call me Matt. And I'm playing desert golf again because here's the thing. I really want to go back and I want to play some more complicated games on my phone. And you guys, I want you all to watch me. However, when you're playing Minecraft and you have to tap things to mine them and to craft them and to fight them and stuff, then what happens is you get this sound. Oh, I just hit the ball. Didn't mean to. But it's annoying and obnoxious and it makes for terrible whatever. So I'm going to wait. I want to get one of those handheld things, yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's a dock. It's basically a game controller that you just plug your phone into, and then you play your phone. You play your phone on a thing and the stuff. So I want to wait and I want to get one of those. The reason I haven't gotten one of those, I've been wanting to get one for months, almost a year actually. The reason I'm not is because I also need to get a new phone. And that's not just a, hey, I'm going to run in real quick and grab a new phone. That's a take the whole freaking family and everybody gets a phone. Oh, come on, all the way up the hill. Come on, man. And so, anyway, hi, desert golf. I'm sorry, this is a nightmare. It was always going to be a nightmare. Today is Monday, and I'm not trying to be Garfield or anything, but this has been the Monday. Like, it is such a stereotypical Mondays are going to go down the little hill. It is. Look at me with my good hitting. It's just been, one of those Mondays. We haven't seen the sun here yeah, I'm a mess. We haven't seen the sun here in Indiana in, somebody told me today, oh crap, in over a month. And boy, oh boy, are we feeling that. A lot of people are just not having it. They're just not having this January. Don't worry, we're almost out of January. And when we're out of January, we get to open, well, I mean, unfortunately, crap. Well, that wasn't too bad. That turned out okay. We get to open a fresh box of February. Now, I know, February is probably not your favorite flavor, but at least we get to open a new box. Everybody likes to open a new box. So look at it that way. We get to flip the calendar. We get to start a new month. We get a freshie. So today, what I thought I would do is, since my last video was so well received, it blew up, you guys. It went absolutely viral. Currently, it has 5 views. 5 views, you guys. So since it was such a raging success, I thought I would do more of it. Also because this game, crap! This game is quiet to play. It doesn't require tapping. So it's not as obnoxious, except there's me, so it's a little obnoxious. But I thought, since I talked about the books I'm reading, let's talk about movies next, just to give you a little something about the movies and the things. I hadn't watched a movie in a long time, like a new movie. Until yesterday, and I've been meaning to watch this. I bought it. It was on my phone. I just hadn't watched it. John Wick 4. John Wick Chapter 4. But I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that one. I'd like a little positivity. So, it was not great. Spoiler alert. I will one day talk about the John Wick franchise. But, I want to talk about something that I'm a little more prepared to talk about. Something that's not, a fresh view, a one-time thing. Let's talk about something that I feel like I have a little bit of authority and I can speak to with some kind of intelligence. Some kind of intelligence. Star Wars. Star Wars. I know quite a little about Star Wars. Quite a lit. And I know good English, too. I'm a talker. All the words, I have them. And so Star Wars came out, the original, the very first, episode 4. It wasn't called episode 4. It was just called Star Wars. back in 1977, just a few short months before I was born. And so I have. It was still in theaters when I was. Oh, so close! It was still in theaters when I was born. So, I feel like Star Wars and I, we kind of are the same generation. We were born. Our parents, both Star Wars, George Lucas, and my mama. They're boomers. You know, they kind of grew up with the same thoughts and the same standards, and they pass those on to their children. So Star Wars and Origami Snowman, both Generation X. That's we're Gen Xers. We've seen a lot of the old, and we've seen a lot of the new, and we watch the old argue with the new, and we're all kind of over it. It's just let things happen, and everyone's cool, right? No, whatever. So Star Wars was kind of my first big, like, I don't want to say my first love, but it was the first thing that I was like, yes, this is my thing. These are my people. This is my fandom. Although we didn't have that word back then, but I was a big Star Wars fan. I loved Star Wars. Now, this was back when, in my tiny little Indiana town, my little area, it wasn't okay to be a nerd. It wasn't okay to be a geek. Those were insults. Those were shameful things. And so you tried to hide it. You know, you tried to keep your passions secret. You know, you didn't tell people that. It was like it was shameful. So there weren't a lot of nerds. I didn't know anybody else who was really super duper into Star Wars. I do remember arguing. This whole is not going well, by the way. I do remember getting into, I don't want to say arguments, but discussions that turned into arguments about which was better, Star Wars or Star Trek, because we couldn't even be friends with those kids. They wouldn't have us. So now I know there were some people who could partake in both, but me being sort of a shallow simpleton, I needed an enemy. And the jocks were my enemy. The popular kids were my enemies, but I couldn't compete with them. There were too many of them. So I had to find the lonely Star Trek kid and make him my enemy. Oh, we could have been such good friends. Now, there was another group, and these kids were cool with everybody, and as a result, super intimidating. The Doctor Who kids. Mark Hartman, Shane Trowbridge, those guys, they were really into Doctor Who. And I tried. I had access to it. It was on PBS. We could all watch it. But I couldn't understand it. It was not on par with Star Wars for me. It was more like like trying to watch The Black Hole. Have you ever seen The Black Hole? It's a Disney movie meant to compete with Star Wars back before Disney could afford to just buy it. And so it's a terrible movie. It's one of those so bad it's bad movies. But the great thing is, my mom didn't know that it wasn't Star Wars. And so she found black hole bed sheets and curtains. And that's what I had in my room for years. And I had to explain to people, like my friends, if they came over, I had to explain to them what it was because no one had a clue what the black hole was. So Star Wars was just the coolest thing. I loved it. I had action figures. I had the Ewok Village. I had the Jabba's playset where he would sit up on his little platform, and you'd turn his head and his tail would flick, and I had some cool toys that I did not appreciate, nor did I take very good care of. So I don't have those toys anymore. But I really, really I loved Star Wars. Now, I will say this. My love for Star Wars didn't really take off until I was probably, let's say I want to say about 9 or 10 years old. and we were just kind of doing the mom thing where we drive around our small town and went to garage sales. And I had I want to say like $1.25 in my pocket. It was all the money I had in the world. And we went to a garage sale, and I remember right where it is. I could take you there right now. And I bought 4 things at this garage sale for my $1.25. I bought 3 books and 1 transformer. And all of that cost me $1.25, which, let me tell you, I don't know the last time I got a deal that good in my life. So the transformer was cool. I don't remember what the guy's name was. He was a helicopter. He was like purple and teal. I don't know if that helps. But the 3, that was nice. Hello, I get another chance. That's very gracious. But the 3 books were the novelizations of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And it wasn't until then that I really, really understood that there was more to it that I liked than just oh crap. Well, here we go. We're doing this now. This is gonna be the rest of the day. There was more to Star Wars that appealed to me than just like the special effects and the explosions and the lightsabers and all that stuff. It was the story. There was something about the just like the in-depth, the little extra bits and pieces and the little hints that there was something bigger going on. And for example, in the novelization of Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan makes a comment to Luke about him being like a duck out of water. And Luke says, "What's a duck?" And Obi-Wan says, "Never mind." And that just blew my mind that they were Obi-Wan was referencing an animal from Earth. Like, he was suggesting that maybe he had been to Earth. That blew my mind, just the implications. There are other instances in the Star Wars novels where the authors suggest this. In the Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin, Lando introduces Han to a drink called hot chocolate that he picked up on one of his voyages and doesn't really say too much more about it. Little goofy things like that. For crying out loud, this is not going well. This is going to be like another one, like the way I started the last video with a 60 strokes on this hole. So, I remember the scene that kept coming back to me, like I would daydream about. Like I remember driving down like the road and me just staring out the window and thinking about this moment in the book was when Han, Luke, Chewie, Obi-Wan, and the droids are trying to rescue Leia on the Death Star. Oh man, that was close. On the Death Star. Just that kind of sneaking in through like the access tunnels and sneaking through like the garbage, the trash compactor, sneaking into the detention level, just all the sneaking basically. And that really appealed to me. And I remember one of my favorite books then and now is the Roald Dahl book, Danny, the Champion of the World. And there is a scene in that book where they are sneaking through private woods filled with keepers. Keepers being the guards who wait and watch for poachers. And they're standing there. They're hiding behind trees with shotguns, waiting for poachers to come and try to poach the pheasants there in these private woods. And Danny and his father are sneaking through the woods, knowing full well that there are guards who are armed and willing and allowed to shoot them if they get caught. And the tension in the scene in that book always just took my breath away as a kid. And that was the same sort of excitement I felt in that scene, that particular scene in the novelization of A New Hope. And I remember just really loving how connected I was to these characters and how important it was for me that they be okay. And it always blew my mind that, like, to just the moment of realization, like, these are not real people. These are not real, like, they are not in an actual setting. I don't know if you guys witnessed this, if you're watching closely, but I was robbed. I was robbed. Anyway, just I have to remind myself these aren't real people. Like, they're just characters on a page. You know, in this instance, they're not even characters in a movie. They're not even actors on a screen. They exist on this page and in my mind. And I loved that. And that's probably part of the reason I became a writer in the first place, was because it was a kind of magic. And I've often associated that magic with Star Wars because of that early experience of me reading these books and just being captivated. And so I read a lot of Star Wars novels. Like I mentioned, the Han Solo trilogy, A.C. Crispin's Han Solo trilogy, and a lot of Kevin Anderson's compilation books, and Michael Stackpole's stuff. You know, the X-wings, the Rogue Squadron. That was I haven't read all of that. I got a whole shelf of them behind me right now. Thrawn's the Thrawn trilogy, Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy. Holy cow! I don't know why that never became a movie. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who agree. Look at that, hole in one. How that's the universe telling me that I'm right. It should 100% have been a series, been a trilogy. But I think we can all kind of say goodbye to that possibility. Whatever, we're not going to go into it. Anyway, so to finish off this video, I would like to talk about the movies, not the novels, the movies, the Star Wars movies. And I want to talk about my favorite ones. And well, I'll rank them. I'll rank them from least favorite to favorite. Now, this is going to be tricky because the last, was it the sequel trilogy? I haven't seen them more than once. I think I've seen part of Last Jedi. Nice, hole in one. Thank you very much. I've seen, I think I saw The Last Jedi maybe twice. I've seen parts of it more than once. But The Rise of Skywalker, I only saw one time. I feel like I got as much out of that as I was going to the first time. So I'll let you decide where that stands. No spoilers. But I'm going to start at the very bottom. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to explain this in very blunt terms. And you guys can be mad at me if you want. But Attack of the Clones might be the worst movie ever made. I'm there. I said I'm going with it. I'm there. It's out there. It's out there. Now, I was an original trilogy guy. Those were my Star Wars. That was my Star Wars. You guys, maybe the prequels were your Star Wars. Maybe you think that the sequel trilogy ruined Star Wars the way I think that the prequel trilogy ruined Star Wars. But that's fine, because you know what? By the time, like, I didn't mind the sequel trilogy so much, because by the time that came along, I'd already had Star Wars ruined for me. That was not a big deal. I survived, and I realized this is not the end of the world. So, that was an interesting shot. Anyway, so Attack of the Clones, absolutely horrendous movie, terrible movie. The acting, everything's garbage. The focus was 100% on the special effects, which, sorry, that does not make a very interesting, compelling movie for me. I prefer the special effects from the original trilogy. I prefer models to computer-generated imagery. It just didn't do anything for me. It was a hot mess. Just terrible. After that, I would say Revenge of the Sith. Right on the tail of that. It was... I've only seen it in its entirety one time. I've seen bits and pieces. It's just not great. You didn't use your characters well. You had this Darth... What is his name? Not Darth... What's his name? Who's the guy? General Grievous. Oh, I forgot his name. He had some potential, but then you Darth Mauled him. You know, you used him up. I hate that so much. I hated how George Lucas had just these great villains and was like, I only need him for one movie. We're gonna cut him in half. We're gonna cut off his head. Oh crap. Sorry. It's apparently, according to the universe, it's time for me to move on. So my second least favorite. So second from the bottom, Revenge of the Sith. Okay. Now we're gonna jump ahead. Because I couldn't bring myself to watch it a second time, I'm going to say Rise of Skywalker. It really didn't make a lot of sense. It was all over the place. There really wasn't a cohesive, steady storyline. It just wasn't there. You know what I mean? Okay. Fourth from the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and say, and this hurts me. My heart hurts, although that might just be cholesterol. But The Last Jedi. I thought it was a very important movie. It was the first time I really genuinely liked Luke. In the movies, in the books, in the novels, there were some really great Luke moments. But in the movies, I didn't like Luke Skywalker. I don't know how I'm going to finish, how I'm going to get this whole. This is going to be a nightmare. I didn't really like Luke Skywalker until he was grumpy and bitter. Then I feel like I really understood him. That was when I was like, yes, okay, I follow you, I read you. However, the storyline with Rose and Finn, I know it was much maligned and nothing against the actors. I just didn't feel it. It didn't feel like it deserved a place. You brought in Benicio del Toro, and he's a great actor, but you threw him away. You used him up. You did him dirty. You gave him, hey, we're going to put you in Star Wars. But honestly, a completely useless, unnecessary character. They could have done what he did in a million different ways. So it fell flat. That balloon lost air real quick. All right, we're up to 4, right? So I've done 2 and 3, and I did 8 and 9. So let's go ahead and jump back, and we're gonna say Phantom Menace. I know you'd think Phantom Menace would be lower on this list, but Phantom Menace was a children's movie. Don't ever forget, it was a children's movie. Anakin was the focus, and he was a child, so the movie was a children's movie. So it gets a pass. Even with Jar Jar, it gets a pass. It's still real low on this list, and yeah. So we're just gonna walk away from that and forget that I put that above some other probably better movies. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. There's a squirrel outside my window, and he is adorable. Anyway, so we got rid of the prequels. Those are out of the way. We've almost done away with now. Okay, let's talk about briefly, because I don't really know where this is gonna land. The Force Awakens. I quite enjoyed The Force Awakens. I liked it. It was it was like a reboot almost. And that was the complaint that a lot of people had, was it's basically New Hope, just a reboot of New Hope. And I'm fine with that. Star Wars can use a reboot. Let's so close with that one. Star Wars, maybe that's exactly what we need. Let's scrap it. Let's start over. Because you guys did a lot of dumb things. Book of Boba Fett, not the least of those. Anyway, so The Force Awakens, I actually really kind of appreciated. Do I want to do? I'm gonna do this. This is bad, you guys. I'm gonna do something you guys are gonna not be happy with. Return of the Jedi. I'm putting Return of the Jedi below. I know it. I said it, and I'm probably gonna eat my words. I'm putting it below Force Awakens. So I'm putting Return of the Jedi, then Force Awakens. Return of the Jedi is hard because there's some real obvious just nods to consumerism. It was such an attempt to just sell toys. That's really, and and it was so corny, real bad. The Ewoks were real bad. Sorry, I know Warwick Davis. I know you did some of your best work there, but you were only 7, so you had a lot of room to grow, and you did. You did. Okay, so yeah, Return of the Jedi, then The Force Awakens, followed by, oh, I know, you guys, you're probably saying, hey, he forgot about, no, I didn't forget about, we're going to do New Hope, because it's a little bit, it's a little bit janky, a little bit, still great, it's great, but it's still just, when you watch it through fresh eyes, I tried watching with my wife, and she's never seen a Star Wars movie all the way through. It's, I know, but this is never going to happen. I'm never going to get this stupid ball in the hole because of all the angles on these slopes are just knocking it all. Maybe? No, it's not going to happen. Okay, so if you try to watch A New Hope as if you've never seen it before, fresh eyes, a fresh take, it's terrible. It's really bad. The only thing that saves it, genuinely, is nostalgia and Han Solo. Those are the only two things saving it. Which brings me to my next favorite movie. This is my third one. This is the third favorite of all the Star Wars movies. Han Solo. Solo. I loved Solo. I loved that movie so much. I was on such a, what do you call it? Fatigue. Star Wars fatigue. Oh, that was close. That was real close. I was suffering Star Wars fatigue when Solo came out. So the fact that it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie is exactly what I needed. It was great. I thought, yeah, you know what? You can complain, hey, that's not Harrison Ford. No, it's not Harrison Ford because Harrison Ford's 100 million years old. He was shattered, and also let's stop pretending that these characters are actually the actors playing them. We got to move on. We've got to carry on without Harrison Ford. We're gonna have to carry on without Mark Hamill. We just have to. So I thought Solo was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Woody Harrelson was great. He was so fun. And then that leaves us with only 2. And this is where I feel like the purists are gonna crucify me, because my second favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. Irvin Kershner directed that. George Lucas, he wrote the screenplay, and then the smartest thing he ever did was hand it off to a different director. And Irvin Kershner knew exactly what he was going to do with it. He took it, and he made that such an exceptional movie. Oh, so good. The cliffhanger ending where everything's it's so like dark and depressing and hopeless, and I loved it. I loved that. And they left it hopeless because they didn't know if Harrison Ford was going to come back for Return of the Jedi. They didn't know if Han Solo was going to live or die. I loved it. It was fantastic. And that leaves my favorite Star Wars movie, Rogue One. Oh, it is so good. It is so good. It is hopeless, and it is merciless, and it is dark, and it gives you the sense of what these people were living with under the rule of the Empire. It was so good. When I was a kid and I would watch New Hope, and the crawl at the beginning of New Hope, rebel spies have stolen plans for a secret, space weapon, shooty shoot, boomy boom, right? We get to see this space weapon. We get to see the destructive power of the Death Star. But we don't ever hear any more about these spies. And that's what I wanted to hear. I was like, go back, tell me more about how did they get these plans? I want to hear that story. Oh, that's exactly what Rogue One was, and it was so good. It felt like they made a movie just for me to answer that question that I've had since I was a little kid, and I loved it. It was so good. K2SO, easily my favorite droid in all of Star Wars. No, he's not cute, but man, is he funny. So, it's Alan Tudyk, who is great. I mean, if you watch Firefly, Wash, best character in Firefly, Alan Tudyk. He was amazing. So, and then if you want to talk about the like the Star Wars series that like Disney Plus has done, they're okay. The Mandalorian is fun. It's great. A lot of, it's neat. Had a lot of promise. Book of Boba Fett was a nightmare. I loved Boba Fett. Favorite character for the longest time. And then they did that to him. And I don't want to talk about him. They nerfed him, and it was awful. I was so disappointed. So I don't want to talk about that. But Andor is without a doubt just so good. It's the best thing that it's the best. It's so good. It's the best series. It's the best Star Wars series. I haven't seen Ahsoka. I didn't finish Kenobi. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I was not a Clone Wars guy. I didn't watch the Clone Wars. I didn't watch the Bad Batch. They were too prequel heavy. I didn't watch Rebels. I probably would have enjoyed Rebels, actually. But Andor was amazing. It was really, really good. Fiona Shaw, she is incredible. She is so good in that series. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend watching it. But, yep, Rogue One, favorite Star Wars movie. I'm going to go ahead and sync this for par. Shut up. You guys didn't see anything. Shush. You didn't see that either. Nailed it. Hole in one. Yep, there we go. Okay, I will pick this up another time, and we'll talk about another series. I don't know, something else, maybe Harry Potter or something, because I also love Harry Potter. But thank you guys so much for watching, and that is all, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, Origami Snowman. Hey, real quick, let's blow the last video out of the water. Let's see if we can't get 10 views. 10 views. I know. That's asking a lot. But if you could, tell everybody about how great I am and how my opinions are the only ones that matter. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.